Hi, so you probably feel a little bit overwhelmed by all the different processes, so I thought that I'd just make a quick little video to show how all of the cells in the immune system interact with one another. So first up, you get your pathogen entering the body by crossing those physical barriers that we have, like the skin and the mucous membranes. A phagocyte is then drawn to it by the concentration gradient of the toxins released by that pathogen. Phagocytosis happens, so it engulfs the pathogen and then becomes an antigen-presenting cell by presenting the antigens of the pathogen on its cell surface membrane. A helper T cell comes along and forms an antigen-antibody complex with those antigens presented by the phagocyte. This helper T cell then becomes activated and divides by mitosis into cytotoxic T cells and memory T cells. So the memory T cells remember what the antigen looks like for the pathogen, so that the next time round it comes into the body, it knows that how to respond and has a quicker response. The cytotoxic T cell kills the infected cell by making little holes in the cell surface membrane of the pathogen, and that makes the pathogen lyse and kills the cell. So now there's another way that an immune response can happen. So if the phagocyte doesn't recognise it first, it can come in contact with a B cell. So the B cell can form those antigen-antibody complexes with the pathogen and it becomes activated. So once it's activated, it divides by mitosis into memory B cells and plasma cells. So your memory B cells remain in the body for a long time and they store all the information on which antibody to produce the next time round that pathogen is in the body and is recognised. And your plasma cells are identical to the B cells, they're clones. And they secrete loads of antibodies specific to the antigen, so that's called monoclonal antibodies because they're clones. These form antigen-antibody complexes with other immune cells and the pathogen to trigger an immune response, and this is all working at the same time as a well-oiled machine. So your first infection is slower because we don't have these memory cells and the plasma cells to make that quicker response. These are how we make these in the first place. So for the second time round that pathogen enters the body, we have a more efficient and quicker response to get rid of that pathogen. So your first infection, you usually show symptoms, whereas your second infection, you usually don't show symptoms because you've eradicated the pathogen before that can happen. Hopefully this video has helped you a little bit and seeing how everything works together. I like to use little cartoons just to make it a little bit more fun. And one revision tip I could have is that you print out the blank slide, just the cartoons, and try and fill in each one and the arrows as you go along. And if there's any gaps in your knowledge, try and work on those areas. Anyway, I hope this helps and hopefully it'll help.